67.2 million viewers glued to the first presidential debate. And last night, debate number 2 down a tad bit to 65.6 million TV viewers. But that's a lot, and a lot of chances to win votes. Former New Hampshire Governor John Sununu and strong supporter of Governor Romney watched the debate, and he's here. Good evening, Governor.
Good evening, Greta. How are you?
I'm very well. Now that you've had 24 hours to digest the debate last night, to think about it, tell me what you think.
Well, I think your warm-up act, Sean Hannity, had a little clip, a package there, which I think highlighted the best part of the debate, where Mitt Romney laid out the failures of the past administration and really his agenda and plan for the future. I think to be consistent with one of the pieces you had in your package, he did a good job of showing that the last 4 years of Obama was the raw deal. And I think it lays the foundation for the campaign over the next 3 weeks.
What do you make of the fact that some of the snap polls have shown that President Obama did better, not demonstrably so, but nonetheless did better than Governor Romney?
Well, look, he needed to do something. I think the Democrats were all excited because a little bit more than an empty suit showed up this time. And on the issues, there was, in my opinion, a huge difference. Now, the very fact that Obama exceeded expectations by doing something well, I think is probably what affected a lot of those numbers. But most importantly, in all of those polls, when the question was who can fix the economy best, in some of those polls, Mitt Romney still won 2-1. So that's the issue of this campaign, and that's the issue that I think was so important, as I said, for Governor Romney to communicate on.
You mentioned the economy. I think that come next week for the foreign policy debate, I think the economy is going to be front and center for Governor Romney, because there's really not much we can do in the world unless we can afford it, unless we can pay for things, whether we can help people, whether we have moral authority. And if we're constantly knocking on the door and looking like international hobos, I think that it makes the country look weak. So I think the economy is going to be front and center next week. Do you agree or not?
Greta, you're absolutely right. You know, Ronald Reagan used to say peace through strength, and you can't be strong without a strong economy. And the worst thing that this president has done is created a reduction in the world's perception of both the economic strength and the military strength and will of this United States. And with that loss of respect, what we have now is a more unstable and a more dangerous world as a result of this president's failure.
All right, no question about it. He inherited a bad economy, and he reminds everybody of it all the time, in which he's entitled to do so because it was bad. Yeah. Do you deny that he has? What has he not accomplished in light of the fact that he walked into office day one with a terrible economy?
Look, Ronald Reagan picked up a horrible economy, probably even worse in some respects than the President Obama did. And within 2 years, he had it was turning around. And in the last 2 years of his first term, Ronald Reagan created 15 million jobs. And President Obama's bragging about his 5 million jobs, which it barely makes up, in fact, doesn't make up for what he lost the first 2 years, and barely makes up for dealing with population growth. This president is really loves to talk about things, but has failed to do anything. Didn't send his immigration plan when he controlled Congress, never sent a budget down that got a single vote from Democrats. The Democrats don't understand how little leadership there's been. He got 414-0. He lost on his budget in the House, 97-0 in the Senate. He couldn't even get a single Democrat to follow his grand leadership on his budget. This guy's been a disgrace, and what Mitt Romney's been doing is pointing it out quite clearly and laying out an agenda to fix things in the future.
Okay, you were chief of staff, as we all know, to a president. Right. I'm curious that the president spent the early part of his presidency working on health care and getting it passed, whether you like it or not like it. I'm curious, can these administrations not work on two main pieces of legislation at one time? I mean, he did promise immigration. Greta. He had a Democratic House and a Democratic Senate. So why didn't he try to move that through simultaneously? What would be the reason not to?
Because he can't chew gum and walk at the same time. Look, I worked for a great president, George Herbert Walker Bush. We put together a 5-year budget plan. We did a Clean Air Act. We did an Americans with Disabilities Act. We did a Civil Rights Bill. We did a Crime Reform Bill. I mean, we had about 12 major pieces of legislation that were passed in that one term. This president's done nothing except outsource health care to Pelosi and Reid, and he didn't even lead on that. He has passed nothing else.
Well, I guess I have been curious. Why he didn't take more advantage of having the relatively little opposition. I mean, he has some opposition within his own party, but early on the issue of immigration, I never understood why that one didn't get more force behind it.
Well, look, he does not like to take a political risk. That's why he hasn't sent a real budget down. Now they're campaigning on trying to tear Mitt Romney down. Now they're trying to talk about women's issues. There are 3 major women's issues that's going to help decide this election. The first one is when the soccer moms pull up to the gas pump and put 14 or 15 gallons of gas in it and have to pay $60. The second one is when the lady of the house goes to the checkout counter at the supermarket thinking she's got a $50 bag, a cart of food there, and the bill turns out to be $75 because the value of the dollar's gone down. And the third one is when about October and November, about this time, they look around and the kids, the daughter or son that came in last June after graduating for a couple of weeks until they found a job, they find out that they still haven't found a job, and they've been in the house for 5 months, and they're still looking for work. Those are the 3 women's issues that are going to make a difference in this election.
Governor, thank you. Always nice to see you, sir.
Thank you.